Prize is looking very regal in his stall here.
So he's cooler than me. He's met the royals in my house.
I just turned 73 and I wanted to think about, I'm 73 years old now, why am I still riding? Riding is inherently dangerous. So I gave that some thought, and I thought I would share my thoughts with all of you because I intend to go on riding even though I'm getting older. I realize 73 is only a little bit older than 72, but still, these are some thoughts that I've had about that. So I keep writing not because of a lot of reasons that I see on other YouTubers talking about it. Many people talk about the freedom of riding. That's not really it for me. I don't feel any more free riding my motorcycle than I do driving my car. It's still going where I want to go, when I want to go. But what I do feel when I'm riding is a visceral connection to the machine, to the world around me. That's very different from when I'm driving my car. In the car, I'm rather insulated from the outside world. Yes, on my Porsche Boxster, I can put the top down and be a little more connected to the world, but I'm still enclosed in a metal frame. On the bike, I'm not. I feel the vibrations of the bike. I hear the engine, and I smell what I smell going past. I feel the warmth or the cold. Today, actually, it's a little bit chilly, but I'm bundled up, and it feels really good to be out here riding in the cool air. And that visceral connection to the machine has a lot to do with controlling the machine, shifting the gears, working the brakes, making sure I'm in the right speed to take a corner, taking that corner and leaning appropriately. All of that makes me really feel like I'm in control and really driving, really operating the bike. And I think that's what a lot of people feel when they're riding their motorcycles, is that connection to the machine. But it's more than that also. It's really a connection to life. I'm 73 now. I'm getting older. I hope to have a long more time before I pass away, but whoever knows? It could happen at any time. I've lived a pretty long time already, 73 years old, but I'm not dead yet. And as long as I'm alive, I intend to live. And part of that is enjoying the riding of the motorcycle and enjoying the feeling that it gives me when I ride. It's great to make that perfect turn around a curve, to really get that angle right. I enjoy pulling up to a traffic light or a stop sign and getting that perfect slow down to where I just come to a stop without even having to put my feet down until the very last second to hold the bike. But the bike is balanced really right up to the last second. That's a very satisfying feeling. It's not unlike when I was flying airplanes, and a lot of pilots had this same feeling. The feeling of just greasing in the landing where the wheels of the airplane just touch down and you don't even really feel it. There's no bump, there's no bounce. They just roll onto the runway. You don't get that very often. It's hard to do that when landing an airplane. But when it happens, it's really satisfying. And when I make that perfect rolling stop to a stop sign or a traffic light on my motorcycle, it's equally satisfying in that way. So I enjoy riding for those reasons. I like being connected to the mechanical aspects of the bike, and I like having that connection to life and the feeling of really getting it right. I'm never bored on the motorcycle. That's why I continue to ride. I've been riding for almost 20 years now. I started out on a Vespa scooter, and actually the first time I got on that Vespa and rode it just around my neighborhood, it scared me to death. I was surprised by the acceleration. I felt exposed to the world, but very quickly I got used to it, and even more quickly I got to where I liked it. And this was in Los Angeles. Traffic in Los Angeles is really bad. It can take you an hour to go 10 miles. And that was the reason I actually got the Vespa scooter in the first place. I wanted to be able to filter through the traffic and get where I was going faster, as well as saving some money on gas prices, which are high in California. And so I got that Vespa scooter, and after a while, I was in love with it. And then a few years later, my attention was caught by the first Zero electric motorcycles. And I sold my scooter and I got a Zero electric, and that was my first time on a real motorcycle. And equally loved it just as much as I had the scooter. The acceleration on an electric motorcycle, if you haven't experienced it, is awesome because it's instant. You have all the torque all the time, and you can accelerate and go really quickly. Of course, it's very quiet, and that sometimes is a little weird, but it's a great feeling to ride an electric motorcycle. Unfortunately, that Zero was early in the years of Zero motorcycles, and it was a lemon. The master computer board went out 4 times in the 2 years that I had the bike, and I finally just had to give it up because it kept stranding me in places. Then I went up to a Yamaha SR400, which I felt a different kind of connection with, because that's a bike that has stayed old. It really hasn't changed since 1978, other than getting fuel injection. It's basically the same bike, and it is kickstart only. There is no electric start on that motorcycle. You have to kickstart it. I had to learn how to kickstart it, and that gave me another connection to the mechanical aspects of the motorcycle, which I found fascinating. And then, of course, from there, I got my Moto Guzzi V7, which I'm riding today, and which I really enjoy for all the reasons that people love Moto Guzzis. It has great character. I love the little shimmy when it starts or when I'm sitting at an idle. I love the fact that it's shaft driven and I don't have to mess with chain maintenance. And it has plenty of power and lots of torque. It's really a fun bike. And so I continue to ride, and I'm absolutely never bored with it, and I hope to keep riding as long as I can. Even though I'm now 73 years old, I'm going to keep it up. I'm taking a little birthday ride today, actually. I'm coming out to a place not very far from my house called Express Farms, where they have something that I think you'll find very interesting when I show you on camera. And in fact, I'm pulling up to the Express Farms right now as we speak. So I'm going to pull into the driveway parking lot area, and we'll pick it up inside.
We are at the famous Express Farms, which is home to the Express Clydesdales. And we're going to go inside and visit the Clydesdales. Just wanted to show you the beautiful scenery surrounding the farm here. And it's only about a 15-minute ride from my house, so I come out here as often as I can. But let me turn the camera around and show you the beautiful scenery here. So here's the grounds and the farmland around the farm, and of course the V7 parked up there. You can see, maybe you can see, way over there, there are a lot of cattle in the field. Besides the Clydesdales, they also raise cattle at the Express Ranch. there's the barn for the Clydesdales, and that's where we're going to go inside in a minute and visit. And we have the ranch house there. Beautiful old trees. And the gates, very ornate. The gates. And across the street, we have also the continuation of the Express Ranch, where they raise more cattle over there. And it's quite a large ranch, for at least for Oklahoma. It's certainly nothing compared to the King Ranch in Texas, but it's pretty large for Oklahoma. And of course we have here the U.S. flag and the Oklahoma state flag underneath, which is blue and has on it an Indian drum with a peace pipe and a laurel leaf, indicating the peace between the Native Americans and the incoming immigrants from Europe. And of course here we've got a model of the Clydesdale, much smaller than the actual horse. We're going to go inside and take a look. So here we are inside the barn, and we're going to visit the Clydesdale horses. If you've never seen a Clydesdale horse, you're in for a treat. They're a lot bigger than regular horses that you are probably familiar with. Let's take a look at some of them. Here we have Prize, and Prize is looking very regal in his stall here. It's hard for you to get a feel for just how large these horses are. I want to pan down and show you their feet. They have very furry feet, as you can see. That's typical of Clydesdale horses, and they are quite large. If I were standing next to Prize here, maybe I would come up to his shoulders. I'm not even sure about that. And in this stall we have Topper. Topper is looking out the window, perhaps. Here I'm showing you Trigger from the rear view, but I wanted you to get a look at just how big this horse is. They're just incredibly large. For Trigger, I don't even think I come up to his shoulder if I'm standing next to him. And I am 5 feet 7 inches tall, 172 centimeters. So that's one heck of a big horse. Here's a little interesting facts about the Clydesdales. Each horse consumes 12 to 15 pounds of grain, 20 to 30 pounds of hay, and 20 to 25 gallons of water each and every day. These are big animals and they take in a lot of food and water. So what's the deal with the Clydesdale horses? Well, this particular farm raises them for competition. There used to be some pretty famous commercials for Budweiser brand beer, where they had the Budweiser Clydesdales pulling wagons, and that's what these Clydesdales do. They participate in wagon competitions. I'm going to turn around the camera and show you a little bit of information about that. So here you can see we have competition for draft horses, and the Express Clydesdales have been crowned with numerous world championships, it says, in both the World Champion 6 and 8 horse hitch, competed all over the world. And here is an example of that 8 horse hitch, where you can see all of the Clydesdales in front pulling the wagon. These are big horses, 17 to 19 hands tall. And for the Americans watching, a hand is 4 inches, and that's measured from the ground to the top of their shoulder. How big? As heavy as my car, 1,800 to 2,300 pounds. That's one heck of a big horse. I hope you enjoyed seeing these Clydesdale horses. If you're ever in Oklahoma City, stop by the Express Ranch and visit them yourself. I think you'll enjoy it.
talked in a previous video about the health benefits of motorcycling, and there are many, and you might want to take a look at that video. But riding is good for your mental health, good for your physical health, and I suppose there again have to agree with various YouTubers where they talk about the freedom of riding. It's the freedom from worry. It's the freedom from thinking about whatever's going on in your life, because you have to focus when you're riding a motorcycle. I have to be completely here, completely thinking about what I'm doing and watching the traffic, working the motorcycle, working all the mechanical aspects of it. I like that. I like having that concentration effort that's required. Why am I still riding? I'm still riding because I'm still alive. As we get older, we of course get closer to the eventual death that comes to all of us. We're all going to die. As we get older, we get closer and closer to that day. But we're still alive until we're dead. I'm still alive. I'm still enjoying life. And while I'm alive, I want to live. I want to enjoy every moment. And that's why I'm still riding at age 73, and why I intend to still be riding at age 74 and age 75 and onward as long as I can. And as long as I'm alive, I'm going to keep doing the things that I want to do. And I hope you will too. I hope if you ride, you'll keep on riding, whatever your age. And I hope that if you don't ride, maybe you'll start, because I think you'll find that it's a truly wonderful hobby, and you join a great community, and it's something that you can do on into much older age, as I am.
I'm going to wrap it up here, but before I go, I want to give you a little update. In a previous video, I talked about how I completely changed my life by moving to China for a year. I have now expanded that into a full book, and that book is available on Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description below. I invite you to check it out. I think you'll find it very interesting. There's lots of photos and lots more stories in the book, of course, than I covered in the video. So please take a look. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye-bye.